People freak at 18, 22, and 30. It's crazy to have everything figured out at 20.
We're interviewing Gary Vaynerchuk. When you think of tech or like innovator or entrepreneur, like Gary's like usually the first person to come to anyone's mind.
Our special guest is Gary Vaynerchuk. The self-proclaimed hustler is a digital media mogul.
He was the guy who pushed me to marketing. He was like basically my college education. He just inspires so many people, myself included. And he got in the early stages of the internet as a wine guy.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Wine Library TV, the first video wine blog.
He was like, oh, you know, you could sell wine on the internet, and everyone thought he was crazy. But then he just kept evolving and adapting to like the changes of the internet, and now he's like huge.
We didn't just go to like his office or something. We went to this speaking arrangement that he was doing.
I've been listening to him for like the past 4 years online, but it's so like crazy to have him say things like directly to you.
Hey!
Hi. Hi. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. So just to like explain everything, we're on a road trip going across the country. I just graduated college 2 months ago, and I launched like my own marketing agency like right after that.
Good for you.
Yeah, thanks.
It's so remarkable that we live in a time and age where you could do that. Like, nobody a generation older than you would have ever thought to launch their own business. Just make sure you have it in perspective. You know, like if the three of you just said, like, what is my grandmother doing at this age? Like, when I do that, it goes into my parents are stuck in the Soviet Union with no options for anything. I was born in the Soviet Union, Belarus specifically. We came to Queens, New York. We lived in a studio apartment with 8 family members, super humble beginnings. When I was 7, I started really getting into my entrepreneurial gear. Whatever the weather season, I had a business, right? Snow, shovel. The fall, rake leaves. Summer, wash cars. So I'm getting D's and F's in school. Back then, I, by the current standards of success, was a failure. I would argue the first 30 years of my life, first 25 years of my life, everybody on the sidelines was booing me. That was the best thing that ever happened to me. Once you embrace adversity and you make it your foundation, it is absolutely the framework of success.
I think that like I've become more comfortable as like the years have gone on with rejection.
Good.
I think when I decided to become an entrepreneur, there was a lot of rejection in that. I like started selling bracelets, and there was just like a ton of rejection, and that like hurt a lot. But
Dude, honestly, hearing I started selling bracelets like immediately gets me excited. I mean it. More than anything, an entrepreneur has to be able to disproportionately deal with rejection. And I feel like the biggest vulnerability for kids under 25 is that the macro system has been built to not create adversity. 8th place trophies.
It's a way to look at it.
It's a very important way to look at it. Number one thing for an entrepreneur, you gotta love losing.
So like a personal question I had is like, how do I get to that point, being this early?
I genuinely remember exactly what this felt like. You want a real pep up? Go read all the reviews of Crush It, my first book, the negative ones. Hit that little 1 star and read them all. I'm a snake oil salesman, this internet thing's a fad, social media's stupid, nobody's gonna go on Facebook. Like, I'm a big time speaker now. What nobody talks about is the fact in 2006 to 2008, I spoke for free all the time at my financial detriment. And so being underestimated is such a gift, and people spend so much time trying to talk themselves out of it. I would let it fester. Put all that pushback, all those no's, just put it in a little pocket. Let it grow.
Cool.
You see where I'm going?
Yeah.
You're not gonna be able to convince them anyway. I never sell people that are unsellable. When they don't believe me, I'm like, cool, I'll see you in 7 years. One thing I'm positive about is, look, there's so many things outside of all of us that dictate our lives. But I feel whether you dwell or accept outside forces, it doesn't change outside forces. What's so controllable is you. Like you can talk to yourself at 9:30 at night and say, instead of watching this 4th episode of Friends from the 90s on Netflix, maybe I can go do more research. Maybe I can sell one more bracelet, or maybe learn Java or Python or C, you know? It just feels controllable. I like that. I like that. I worry that people think I'm naive or too ideological about it. I'm not. I just think it's a motivator and a better framework to put it on yourself because you can. What's so controllable is you. So self-awareness is the ultimate drug. You have to figure out who you are, and you have to tune out all the other voices, all of them.
What do you think, for someone like me who I want to find out a way to combine tech and social justice to help my community?
Well, that's amazing. The world is your oyster if that's how you think about it.
I mean, it's like I don't really see a path in front of me right now, so it's like hard to believe that. But.
Yeah, the reason I'm excited is if you actually break down your sentence and say you want to use technology or the cross-section of technology and to service your community. When one wants to service their community, whatever that may be, it could be entrepreneurs, it could be immigrants, it could be African Americans, it could be Asian, it could be anything you want, whatever, right? Well, that's life's work. You have your whole life to do it.
It's just, where do I start, right?
I think that's right, but I think it's a lot less crippling to think about where you start when you realize you're playing forever. The great thing that made me fall deeper in love with entrepreneurship was when I realized, oh my God, I get to play forever. Not like the athletes that I looked up to. Not even Jay-Z feels a little old to 15-year-olds now. You know what I mean? And so, not a rapper, not an athlete, but an entrepreneur can play forever. When you have as big of an ambition as what came out of your mouth, if that's your truth, if it's not just young ideology, if it's really in you, have a lot more patience because, especially with modern medicine, you're probably gonna live 100 more years. And when you start thinking about, I have 100 years to do this, it gets interesting. What you don't know is that at 42, which seems like 1,000 years from now, it feels just like I'm sitting there right now. If you knew that 42 felt like 20, you would change everything. It's why I'm trying to get you to understand you have 100 years. People freak at 18, 22, and 30. They freak. They think they have to have it figured out. It's crazy to have everything figured out at 20. It's practical and makes more sense to explore 20 to 30 and then double down on something. That's logical. And best of all, youngsters, the best thing you got going for you is you can do everything wrong for the first 7 years out of your college and still be a baby. Literally do everything wrong and wake up and be 29 and have your whole life in front of you. And when you really internalize that, everything changes. Because right now you've got stress on your shoulders that's fake. You have time. One life, do something.
I think that was like the first time I ever went like speechless in front of someone. That's so embarrassing. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you guys.
It's just like we have time to do like whatever we want.
Like when he said, like, I still feel like I'm sitting where you are right now. He kind of said, like, there's no like end goal, right? Like you said, like you're just always learning, and like that just made me feel like, well, then I guess I just gotta get started right now, and like I just need to do something.
Exactly.
There is time.
I don't have to have it like right now. It's just gonna be like a work in progress. You know, it's worth it ultimately in the end. If you wanna get to a place where you wanna be, you just have to put in the hard work and do like due diligence.
Thanks for watching. We're always sending students down our big green RVs to interview leaders like the one you just watched. So subscribe to stay up to date with all of our latest content. See you around.